All right. Good evening. Oh, did I just lose a channel? Hold on a minute. Oh, great. Check. That's bizarre. Is it this? Is it this? Okay, so that's going live into here. Check. Okay, so that's good there, which means this is good here. It's this that is bad. Wow, that's strange. Okay. Check. No, that's good coming out of here. It's my headphone feed going the other way. Okay. All right. Check. Bizarre. I'm not going to get worried about that. Let's do this. Okay. Wow. Weird. Okay. But I've got a good feed coming back, and I know that's live. That's in stereo. It's weird. Why it's not. Okay. I don't have, I can't mess around with this. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not going to worry about it. We're going live in 5 seconds. Here we go.
Bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Welcome. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. Here we go. Been waiting for this night. Today's Wednesday, June 27th, 2018. 178 days into the new year, just 187 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in beautiful downtown Burbank, California, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planets. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I'm great. Sort of. More on that in just a bit. But tonight, yeah, here we go. Very special guest, Tracy Garbett is here. She gets introduced to the world this evening on Fade to Black. We are going to discuss experiencer and contactee research, her own life story, and these days of disclosure. And then we've got a close to this show tonight that I can't wait to get to. But only I know. Well, and a couple of others. So get ready for that. That's our show tonight. Tomorrow night is another Fader night with John Rappaport. Without John Rappaport, he's on the road doing some research again this week. He'll be back next week with his No More Fake Newsroom Live. But tomorrow night it will be open lines all night long. All right. Now, OnStellar is the place to be. Everybody knows. Go and register at OnStellar, OnStellar.com. Use my referral code, Jimmy, when you do. And then when you get over there, send me a friend request. Now, we've got Fade to Black over there. We've got the Game Changer Network over there. Rita is over there. Allegedly, Richard Dolan is over there. We've got David Icke over there. We've got George Norrie, David Wilcock, Corey Good, Robert Schock. You know, all of your favorite researchers are over at onstellar.com. Come and hang out with us. Share the knowledge. Check out the articles that are there. I just posted one again today. Now, my article, I'm going to read it to you in its entirety in just a bit. But that's a really, really trippy situation that's going on with Big Brother right now. So go and read that and other articles that are posted by friends and family just like yourself. They are all over at OnStellar, onstellar.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple, at JChurchRadio. And you can hang out with us over on Twitter. We use hashtag F2B. We call that our sandbox. And tonight, just like every other night on the show, we're going to burn through 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 tweets. Come and hang out with us and join in on the conversation. Thank you for all of my dancing gifts tonight on Twitter. They're always wonderful. Some of these are like too strange. I wonder, where do you guys... okay, some of these you guys create. I get that. I see that. But where do you guys go for these? Is there like a GIF repository where you go and find, because these all apply to the show. They're really well done. And if you want to check those out, follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is what you want to do. Okay, it's very simple. Now, you can also email throughout the show, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. And if you do have any questions or comments, just hit me up right there in Twitter, hashtag F2BQ. Okay, it's really that simple. Now, I just want to say this in my little breaking news section of the intro that I do every night on the show, that all things, they say that all things happen in threes. Well, today was one of those days. All three happened at the exact same moment, playing out in real time. And when that happens, you just got to work through it. This afternoon, my family was stunned beyond what is fair, all of us. And I'm going to say this. And I know that sometimes we all kind of fake it. Okay? We fake it when these things happen. And, you know, the big stuff, the bad stuff. And we fake it and we hide it. You know, life is good. You know, you hide the reality of what is going on and you deal with things privately. And rather than try and do that tonight on this show, to act like nothing happened today, well, that's just not right and it's just not fair. So I'm letting you know that we were pummeled, okay? And it was something that I'm not going to go into the details. I'm not going to do any of that. What I want you to know is that I'm here and I'm on this microphone. And if I laugh my way through tonight and I didn't mention anything about it, that's not really cool. I feel like I would be lying. It would be deception. That's not cool because everybody goes through stuff, including here. And if I would have done that tonight, which I could have, then you don't understand the reality of the situation. So let me just say this. It's this family of ours, the Fade to Black family, the Fadernauts, that give Rita and I the strength to just plow through it. Okay? And when life just is not fair, when life is not cool, you know, the sun always comes up. Tomorrow is a new day. Because I'll say this, today, when I woke up, it was a bright, beautiful day. It was a bright, beautiful day. Everything was great. And then it unraveled. And it unraveled very quickly. And the thought of not doing the show tonight is not cool. The thought of doing the show tonight and not mentioning this is not cool. So what do? Well, you know what? It's this audience and this family that allows us to just do it and get things done. Because when life is not fair, you've got to punch back. That's what you have to do. Okay? All right? So are you with me? Are you with me? I know that you are. So I am going to laugh. I'm going to have the best show that we've ever had tonight. Tracy Garbett is here. I am so excited about this. And it's what I need. And then after the show tonight, I had said to Rita, it's going to be a great show. But after the show tonight, I am getting junk food. I'm getting junk food. And I went down the list of what I'm going to do after this show, because that's how I'm going to deal with it. All right? Okay. All right. Let's move on. I want to thank all of you, every single one of you, for being here for us. Okay? All right. Don't forget to sign up for our Soul Tech Gathering, where our family is going to get together up at ECETI Ranch this August 9th through the 12th. Just go to soultechgathering.com. We've got the most amazing weekend lined up for all of you. We're going to be teaching all weekend long. We're going to create those memories and friendships that are going to last an entire lifetime. Come and join us up there. I've invited Corey Good to be our special guest, my friend, my guest, all weekend hanging out with you. We're going to do night watches. We're going to be teaching. We've got classrooms set up. We're going to have James Gilliland, Jason Quitt, Matthew Ryan, Michaela Sheldon, Teresa Yanaris, Holly Marie, Mary Gabrielle, John Lund, Dana Harvey, Billy Carson, Laura Cantu, Christine Contini, all at one place to hang out with all of you. SoulTechGathering.com. Go and get your tickets now. It's about to sell out. And I know I keep giving you this warning, but it's about to go down. Okay, so go if you've delayed for whatever reason, go and take care of business now. SoulTechGathering.com. Then a week later, I'll be August 17th through the 19th. I'll be in Loveland, Colorado at Dimensions of Disclosure with Corey Good, David Wilcock, Emery Smith, Teresa Yanaris, Gerald O'Donnell, Jordan Sather, and 20 other speakers and presenters. Tickets and information, dimensionsofdisclosure.com. All right, and when you go over to jimmychurchradio.com, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We have over 875 archive shows, custom apps, Apple, Android, all platforms, just $2 per month. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on that podcast banner. And you can also become a Fadernaut, an official Fadernaut. Be a part of this family. Just go to our membership section where you will get the bunker cam. You can also get commercial-free downloadable archives. And if you become a game changer, you get all that Fade to Black gear, okay? Autograph hats, T-shirts, and you get a private email to me. It's all right there in our membership section on the site. And don't forget, all of our wonderful sponsors here that are a part of this Fadernaut family, the Fade to Black family, and I'm talking about Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com, River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend, Ancient Life Oil, Sacred Skulls, Numana Food Storage, and of course, Bearing Optics. They all support this show. They are sponsors of this show. And go and click on the banners. They are absolutely wonderful, the best products, and they've been with us forever. That's how we broadcast every single night. With that, let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today, J.J. Abrams, 52 years old, right? Star Wars, Star Trek, Fringe, Lost, Super 8, right? Moonshot, and how about a time travel series 11/22/63. Did you guys see that? It was I don't know. I can't remember how many parts it was, but it was absolutely amazing. 11/22/63. J.J. Abrams is clearly in our corner. He's 52 today. Happy birthday, J.J. Abrams. Okay. On this day in history, in 1829, it went down. In Genoa, Italy, English scientist James Smithson dies after a long illness, leaving behind a will with a very peculiar footnote. In his will, he said, in the event that his only nephew died without any heirs, Smithson decreed that the whole of his estate would go to the United States of America to found at Washington under the name of the Smithsonian Institution, an establishment for the increase and diffusion of knowledge. Smithson's curious bequest to a country that he had never visited aroused significant attentions on both sides of the Atlantic and continues to this day. It happened on this day, OTD, in 1829. Fader fact. Here you go. A tomato plant was found on the volcanic island Tracey off the southern coast of Iceland. It had grown from the feces of a scientist that took a dump. It's a fader fact. It's vetted. It really happened. You should go look at Tracey is Surtsey. Go look at it. Google Maps, right there, southern coast of Iceland, the middle of the frozen Atlantic Ocean on a volcanic island. A tomato plant was found. Yeah. How did it get there? Well, I just told you. Go look at it. There's nothing on that island except for a volcano and a tomato plant. The tomato plant was removed, by the way. It was bagged and tagged. Tonight, Tracy Garbett is here. Yes, I'm going to introduce her to you and the world tonight. And her story, her education, her life is an amazing one. And we're going to discuss experiencer and contactee research. We're going to discuss her life story, how she got here, and how all of it is affected by these days of disclosure. Then we're going to close out the show with another special guest. But you're going to have to wait. It's going to be amazing. Tomorrow night is another Fader night without John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live, but we will have open lines all night long. Now, I posted an article. You have to excuse me. I'm working through this, okay? I need you guys to work through this with me. There you go. A couple of weeks ago, I posted an article over on OnStellar about Big Brother, about how Big Brother is listening. Now, I talked about it on this show, posted the article. I went over to Coast and talked about it very publicly about a conversation that I had on a phone, my iPhone, with a friend. And that phone call and conversation consisted about a conversation about cameras and lenses, right? Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. And those camera and lenses were purchased by another friend of ours, friend of this show, actually. And very expensive, very nice lenses. And then that conversation was about us shooting video and a documentary that we're going to do up at ECETI for Soltech. All right, and so that's why that conversation even happened at all. It was a short 3-minute conversation about this documentary and filming and cameras and things up at ECETI Ranch. Well, no big deal, right? You know, and I want to be clear that I'm not a photographer. I'm not. I'm not a video guy. Okay, my video and photography happens on my phone. That's the existence of my participation in it. I'm an audio specialist. Okay, I know audio, and its technology as well as anyone on the planet. I can hang with anybody on this planet about audio and its technology. I have very serious knowledge and bragging rights in this area, and I've spent my entire life doing just that, audio in all forms, right? But photography, no. I'm just not into it. I like looking at it, but I don't research it. I don't follow it. And like I said, it's my camera on my iPhone. That's as far as I go, right? That's good enough for me. Well, what goes with that? And again, I need to be clear, is that I've never searched, clicked, watched, or otherwise done anything on the net concerning a camera or a lens ever. As I presented in my article about this, the next morning my internet feeds were flooded with advertising about cameras and lenses. It was everywhere, and it freaked me out because I found it so strange because I had never really talked about it. You know, I was confused. Why would this advertising just show up seemingly out of nowhere? It was only that one little 3-minute conversation that happened the day before. Could that be it? Could that be what triggered it? And if it is what triggered it, then it's definite proof that someone or something is listening. Now, Zuckerberg and Google and everybody else say they are not. They are not listening. Well, I call BS. Last night on Fade to Black, I had Jason Louv on the show. We were talking about technology, AI, AR, Google, Facebook, the NSA. I'll say it again, the NSA, etc. And I mentioned last night, speaking with Jason, the article and my little experience with the camera and the lens advertising. And you remember Jason's response. Well, yeah, right. Yeah, they're listening, right? They have AI that can convert words into text and know what you're into and boom, advertising, you know, and it was confirmation, right? Well, today, while surfing and researching for the show tonight, another camera ad popped up. Now, and I freaked. I freaked. It's right there, right? Now, I posted earlier today on Twitter a shot of the ad. Now, what I did do today is I went back and I just to confirm all of this, I go back and I'm like going to different websites. I'm just going around. I went to CNN, I went to Fox, I went to BBC, I went to Al Jazeera. You know, and all of these are AdSense and Google ads, you know, that feed those, right? But those ads follow you as you jump around on the net. And I went to other places too as well. The ads followed me. So I grabbed screenshots. They were everywhere today. And what is weird is that to prove to myself that there was something going on, right? You know, and to me, it's really scary. But to prove to myself that I'm not bonkers, I haven't clicked on any of the advertising. Haven't done it since it happened 2 weeks ago through to today. And I still haven't, right? I haven't done any searches. I haven't done anything camera or camera related. Nothing. I didn't want to trigger any bots. And the ads kind of went away, and I kind of forgot about it until last night, right? When I did that little mention to Jason about how this could be pulled off. But today, like magic, I've got cameras and lenses on my net, and it's not cool. Now, this is the deal. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. And when I do, I will stop at nothing to expose this technology to the world. This goes way beyond anything that is acceptable. And what makes it worse is that Facebook and Google and everybody else say that they don't do it. And they are lying. They're lying. I have all the proof that I need. Big Brother is listening. This is not a joke, and I am not crazy, and nobody is going to tell me any different. I am speaking about my own experience. This isn't somebody else telling me about what is happening to them, or that they heard from a friend that this is going on, or that they read on some blog somewhere that this is happening. I am being very serious here. I need you to take another look at that image. Do it. When I hit this break, I'll post some of the other screenshots that I grabbed. You know, what I posted today was taken on my computer at 2:36 p.m. And the conversation was with Jason on this show last night. Not on my phone, on this show, which opens up a whole nother conversation. Think about what I am saying. Phones, I guess we're forced to get it. Okay, they're listening. Whether it's a phone conversation or you're surfing, they are listening. It doesn't matter if it's Android or iPhone, they are listening. I've heard that Facebook and Facebook Messenger, if it's installed on your phone, Messenger is there by default. You can turn it off, but you can't uninstall it, right? So there's that part. We have Siri. That microphone is always on. So phones, I get it. Smart TVs, again, understood. The Internet of Things around your house, ditto with that too. But this was live on the show last night. That is freaking me out. And again, we have various VPNs and things that we run with IP protocols, and we hide things, and we have to. I'm always running from hackers and people that want to bring this show down. The amount of attempts per day on our servers and my email servers, attempts per day at passwords, number in the thousands. And it's not any one person. It's a variety of attacks. So we are very protective here. So that's another layer of weirdness for me. I haven't clicked. You need to understand, I haven't clicked, searched. I've only thought about and spoken about this. And last night it was live on the show. It wasn't on my phone. I am just blown away. So now that I know, I am convinced, I have the proof, that's it. I know that this is going on. How, what, when, where, and what the technology is, I am going to find out. What Zuckerberg said last month in Washington, D.C. was clearly a lie and not the truth. And for everybody else out there, and that goes with Google and YouTube and AdSense and all of the other advertising companies and the software and the cleverness and how they are doing this, it is going to get exposed. I will find out. And I am going to just scream to the world, and I will make sure that it is exposed. There's something going on. And again, to be clear, if I was told that it is happening and they are doing it, no harm, no foul. We know that it's going on. If you are going to say that you're not doing it and it is happening, then you're trying to make a sucker out of me, all of you, and the people on this planet. You're clearly lying. And that's the uncool part. And I want to catch him. I want to catch him in that lie. I know something is going on. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Tracy Garbett is here. This is going to be a conversation and a show that you are going to remember for a very long time. I'm very excited about this, and this is clearly not the last time she's going to be on this show. Tonight, it's Tracy Garbett. Tomorrow night, open lines, Fader night, all night long. And for some reason, you know what? The NSA, I know they're listening right now through those AT&T concrete buildings going all the way across this country. Well, you're not going to win. Not this time. No way. It's Fade to Black. Thank you for being here with Rita and I tonight. It's going to be a great show. Thank you. It's Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet, on the Game Changer Network. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at getthetea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at getthetea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at getthetea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. Getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at KGRAradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. Come over and hang out, join in on the conversations. We have both chat rooms open tonight, too, as well. You can hang out there. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Tomorrow night is open lines all night long. John Rappaport is on the road doing some research. So it'll just be open lines, you and I. That's right, the Fade or Not family. Tomorrow night, on Fader Night. Tonight, it's Tracy Garbett. Now, I've been talking about this all week long. I'm going to introduce you to Tracy tonight and to the rest of the world. Tracy earned her bachelor's degree in psychology and international studies at the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg. In 2016, she founded and served as president for Big Sisters of Psychology, becoming a widely recognized leader who inspired many students on their self-journey discovery. Now, Tracy is a professionally trained remote viewer whose work has been evaluated by several leading figures in the field, including Paul Elder and Skip Atwater. Many of her remote views have been regarded as exceptional, including a striking example of accurately perceiving a location 2,600 miles away through the eyes and sense organ of another person. Tracy has also had a number of direct contact experiences with apparent non-human intelligences, all of which she has carefully recorded, and one of which occurred while present with another witness, and we will discuss this tonight too as well. She views her contact experiences and her work on remote viewing as an outgrowth and extension of her lifelong spiritual and philosophical endeavors. These include extensive training at the renowned Monroe Institute in Virginia, as well as the Ramtha School of Enlightenment. And I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Tracy Garbett. Tracy, good evening. How are you?
Hi, Jimmy. I'm great. Thanks so much for having me on.
Tracy, you get the first-time guest disclaimer tonight.
I know.
Right?
Yes, so it's true.
Let's
it's true.
I know you've been looking forward to it, so let's just get it out of the way.
All right.
It's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. Where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. There you go. You ready?
Sounds good. Yeah, let's do it.
So excited, and there's a few things that I kind of want to get out of the way. The first is this, and then we're going to go backwards, but I want to start a little bit in the present tense, which is you did a TED Talk, and and everybody can go and look that up now if you wish. I didn't advertise that in advance, but you did a TED Talk. And which I thought was quite amazing. But the audience, and this is what is the fascinating part, the audience has no idea about remote viewing or ET or experiencer, and they don't have any idea. And my point is this: you never know who you are going to meet, who you walk past during the day, or see at a TED Talk that could be an experiencer. They come in all sizes, shapes, and flavors, don't they?
Oh, God, that is so true. That is so true. I think about that when I get on planes. And, sometimes you talk to the person beside you and sometimes you don't. And I think sometimes, that person could be a contactee or that person could have gone through something so unusual. Every once in a while, I'll, think this and I'll get up the nerve to ask them and sort of dig in. And, and sometimes you don't. But you're so right. You just never know what's going on in people's lives.
And the way that you are perceived. I mean, for instance, you get up there at your TED Talk, right? And you go, now, before I get started, I remote view and I think I've met E.T. Let's continue. Now, right, the perception is immediately changed for you. Is that fair?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel like, especially in academia, because that was the context that I did that particular TEDx talk in. I don't know what would have happened. My credibility would have been gone just like that, for one thing.
And it's not fair, is it?
No, it's very unfortunate. But it's true in a lot of cases, particularly that context and, out there in society. Yeah, for sure.
Now,
sad.
It is. So let's back up a little bit here. Bachelor's degree in psychology, right? Mm-hmm. A pretty solid CV in background. But did you have anything that you may have kept in the closet growing up? Did you have any experiences? What were your parents like?
I did have experiences, if you're talking our type of experiences. I did have unusual things happening as a child. My parents didn't really know, other than the fact that I had this debilitating fear of the dark that they sort of had to deal with. And I had that through adulthood as well. My parents, as far as what they were like, my father, I always jokingly say, was the epitome of the sun, this bold, charismatic man. And my mother was the epitome of the moon. She is intuitive, quiet, gentle, sensitive, and
Canadian.
And Canadian, that's right. Very true. Yes, grew up in Canada, spent almost my entire life in Canada, and but they weren't. I mean, if you're asking, did they really know what was going on with me in terms of experiences? Is that what you're asking?
Well, there's that part. We always need to discuss that. I mean, are these things that you discussed with your parents, or, like I said, is this stuff that you kept in the closet?
Okay, I see. Well, I pretty much, I would say I kept it in the closet for the most part. And when things started really turning up in early adulthood, the frequency was really increasing. I don't think I told my mother right away, but because they kept happening more and more and more, there was a point where I started to bring her in on it. And it was just a sort of a slow process of warming her up. I guess I was always aware that I needed to sort of maintain my credibility, even with my parents. I never, ever spoke to my dad about anything, but my mother is a little more open, being that sort of more intuitive, sensitive type. When I would talk about things, she could sort of relate. And bringing it closer up to current day, my mother has had some experiences, not sort of contact with ET but more paranormal visitation from my father after he passed. So she's far more open. My mother is watching Ancient Aliens now. So we came a long way. I can talk to her about pretty much everything. But it was a slow build. So I was kind of in the closet for a while, and but I'm in a good place with my mom now. I can talk to her about anything.
Is she listening right now?
Oh, she'll probably listen to it later.
Okay, all right.
This is a little too late for Mom.
I'm just wondering what is going to get disclosed tonight. Oh,
it will be fine. It'll be fine. She knows, like, some of the things I'll tell you tonight. There was a time where I didn't really talk to her that much, and when some of these experiences happened, I called my mother first thing in the morning because I knew something was happening to me, and my natural reaction was to go to my mother.
Did you start to research? Did you start to look into this and maybe collect some books and go down that road?
Yes, I have books all around me. I sort of had the historical collection from the beginning, what I was looking into, sort of spiritual philosophies and mediumship and more paranormal and all these types of realms, and sort of the progression from there. So yeah, I was into books, videos, teachers. I was going to different retreats, anything I could get my hands on. I really wanted to know. I knew something was interacting with me, and it kept changing. And all I could do was I keep going to the buffet that was available out there on paranormal and these types of things, and try things, ponder them, build theories, try to corroborate them, see if they fit,
Right. And how did that conflict or not with psychology and your education?
Oh, yeah. Well, psychology kind of stays away from a lot of this, doesn't it? Especially...
Exactly.
Yeah, psychology is all about pathology, and telling a psychologist about a lot of these things, there's actually an element of caution and potential danger there. But I should qualify that. There's also safety there. if something actually is wrong, if there is schizophrenia or there, dissociative identity disorder or something else going on, then psychology is a good thing. But as far as my experiences, no, it didn't help at all. It was dead ends. It was the only form of psychology that is inclusive and more holistic and recognizes these parts are transpersonal psychology,
right?
Psychology that goes beyond the personality, and depth psychology, which is sort of similar. But where I took a lot of my psychology here on the East Coast in Florida, it was almost never even mentioned. A lot of the young students in my class had never heard of these before. And it's funny because I had experiences happening. I made it a point in every single class that I was in when we introduce ourselves to say these were my real passions in psychology, even though they weren't being taught here. And then it would be natural for these young 20-year-olds to ask, what is that? And I kind of had this, I was going through my own exploration, but I also was always conscious of throwing out these seeds for these young folks, knowing, like you were saying in the beginning, you never know what people are going through. I'm thinking that while I'm looking at them all the time, how many of them are having contact experiences or things that are scaring them or even sleep paralysis, and they don't know what it is and it's not being acknowledged. That was a fun thing for me. I kind of was building into my psychology degree what I wanted by reaching out to these younger students. It was interesting.
Well, and did you find it strange that your life? Nobody can take that from you. Nobody can tell you that it's either it's not happening or it's not real or it's not. No, that's your own experiences and your own truth. And then to find it not addressed in academia, that it's either denial on academia's part or they choose not to address for whatever reason. And you're going through that because you're seeing both sides of the fence.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. I mean, the closest you can get to it, there is a little bit psychology of religion had a chapter on mysticism, and it would, sort of dabble slightly. But yes, it was very, very frustrating. And I can tell you a story later on, but the school flat out rejected something I was doing in my own organization as soon as the word UFO came up. Right. So,
yeah. There isn't a chapter on UFO contactees in Psychology 101. A primer. No, I don't think that happens, and I understand that. And then what I wanted to ask you next is the experiences that you were going through up to that point. I'm talking about college. Were they physical? Were they in a dream state? How channeling? However, how were they happening for you?
Honestly, there's such a huge variety of things that happened. Some things happened in a waking state. They seemed, I'm just kind of trying to go chronologically in my mind to answer this question.
Sure.
I think they sort of started off, they were more paranormal, sensing these beings around me. There was interaction, and eventually what started happening was there was a type where there was some validation. So I knew that this was something real. I've had types that have occurred in an out-of-body state where I'm having physiological sensations happening to my body, and I am hearing a group around me, and they are interacting with me. So there was a physical component there. It was an out-of-body experience where I had all my cognitive faculties, it seemed, intact. But I was in this state of euphoria. That's another kind. I've had some where they've happened in dreams. primarily. I've had some where they begin outside of the dream, where you know something is in your room, and then you do something that is, you act in an unusual way that you wouldn't normally. You break your routines and you get into bed, and then boom, you're asleep. It continues in a dream. I've had a fully conscious situation where a being appeared with a witness. I have had, so there's a real mix dream, and then there's the kind that I'm sure many of us have had, where we're kind of in that in between state, hypnagogic state, when we are we're starting to wake up and something occurs in our room. This could be in the middle of the night, or for me, for some reason, this was happening in the morning when I'm about to wake up. I'm super close, and I couldn't see them, but I could hear them perfectly talking over top of me. So there's such a range going on.
Now, then, and I find all of that interesting, and the audience is listening, and they're going down the check boxes. Yep, that happened to me. Yep, that happened.
I'm sure, yeah.
Right. And I'm doing it myself right here.
Yeah.
So, I read. I collected. I went out and did everything that I could to read. What were some of the books that you went and researched and read? I mean, an Interrupted Journey or Betty Andreessen? Did you go back to some of the early John Mack stuff? What did you go and find?
Well, let's see. To be honest, I did dabble in some of that. In the beginning, when it was more paranormal, I was dabbling in those realms, and I was always going to experiential teachers because I wanted to learn from them, and I also wanted to build a framework and try and feel safe with what was going on. Just trying to think what else. I went into the Newton stuff. I went into some channeling stuff. I went into the Seth books.
Hold on, Tracy. Hold on. That was one of the great comments I've heard anybody say. You were trying to feel safe.
Yeah, I was, and I'm sure a lot of other people were too, trying to feel safe, and trying to build a framework, because I mean, something is interacting with us. We don't know if it's coming from another dimension. I mean, at the time I wasn't even thinking about dimensions or anything like that. All I knew is something was interacting with me, so I had no control over my life. I had no people that I could talk to. What do you do? This is quite an interesting time in a person's life, and yeah, I know all these people listening have gone through this as well. But we're trying to build a framework of control that makes us feel safe and allows us to carry on, because we're bracing. We have to prepare for what's going to happen in the future, and it has changed over time. So yeah, trying to feel safe is a big deal.
And as you started to not only seek out guidance and other teachers and stuff and read about this, were you finding some parallels and connection between your own experiences and what others were having out there, which showed you that maybe you're just not plain nuts, which is something that had to go through your mind many times?
Yeah, I mean, it was a slow build again through mediumship at the very beginning and the paranormal. But yeah, I did start to find other people. I did start to realize it was happening to others. It felt so good. Honestly, it feels so good to find other people. It's so good to find groups. It's so good to find teachers. And even when they don't fully resonate with you, or, it's still good to go through that and take what you need to help the ego feel safe.
That's right.
So, yeah. It's important.
And what does it do for you? One, as a psychology major, first off, and second, when you're looking at the status quo, where that picture and that dogma that is painted for the world, that everything is quite normal. There's nothing else to see here. Just move on, right? Live your life.
Yeah.
Buy, consume, and work, right? Just do your thing.
Yeah.
And surely that's the opposite, right? That is not the case. Now you know that the world is not what it seems.
Right. The consensus reality that we grew up conditioned in and socialized in is not what it appears. It's not what it appears. And so we aren't living in the paradigm that we thought we were. And how do we reconcile that?
Now, did you ever, we're going to head towards a break here in about 3 minutes. Did you ever find a teacher or a professor in school that you could confide in that maybe understood this, where you were?
Well, no, I did actually, but I didn't so much in psychology. The international studies part of my degree, I did that through the lens of a lot of anthropology, or world religion, and this type of thing. There was a professor in medical anthropology that studies tribes around the world as it pertains to medicine and compares it to the Western world. And she was amazing. She, because all of these tribes around the world, this is normal, commonplace.
Right.
The basis of all healing and medicine is spiritual balance. And that means dealing with all of, they believe in these entities. They believe in all of this. So she's open to all of it. So that is where I found some solace and some peace. And she actually encouraged me to study what I wanted, and to do and present on what I wanted. So I studied Tibetan dream yoga, which is a form of lucid dreaming, to learn more about, what that was all about, and a whole variety of things. But that was all through medical anthropology. I was so surprised that was where I found I could talk about these things.
And and so today, and when we come back, we're going to focus on a couple of your experiences, and I want to discuss remote viewing too as well. But today, how comfortable now are you, with yourself when you hear about these other experiences, or have these sightings, or how comfortable are you?
I'll tell you how comfortable I am. I often have said, just see how far you can push me. I am so comfortable. I am so comfortable because of what has happened to me. I will throw myself out there for anyone who, needs to talk about these things. I've done a lot of exploring. I've spent many years reconciling this. I have had a lot happen. So I feel very solid and stable. I would say I've done enough research and gone through enough that my ego feels safe and my framework feels good and stable. So, so I'm not questioning myself anymore. I'm not doubting myself. I know what happened, and I feel good about it now. So.
And when you go to, we've got about 1 minute. When you go to conferences and you walk around, you don't even have to say anything. I'm saying when you walk around and you're with others, is it like the most comfortable, coolest thing that you could possibly experience?
Oh, yeah, it is. I just want to say the very first time I went to a UFO conference, I came away saying, these were some of the most open-hearted people I'd ever met. I just thought it was not even close to some of the other paranormal ones. I just thought these people have had something so fantastic, changed their whole worldview. And they're just these unique, open-hearted beings who are so willing to share. And so I loved them right away for that exact reason.
Yeah, I experienced the same thing in that I know individually down, not the collective, but when you go down, not the, let's go to the micro side of it. When you go to the individuals, there is something so profound and emotional and personal that has happened in each one of their lives that they are there. And that's what I find to be the most remarkable, and that's what I respect the most.
Yeah, I love that. One of my favorite things was always sitting down at a table, filled with all strangers, because I used to go to them by myself always.
Right.
And just saying, what brought you here?
Yeah, I do it all the time now.
Yeah, I love that. And people who were shy, who were going, I always said, never assume. Always ask that of the person beside you. You won't believe what's going on in that person's world, and they're just being quiet about it. So ask them.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. So why are you here, bro? All right.
Yeah.
Let's take a break right here, Tracy. And when we come back, we're going to go. I want to discuss remote viewing.
Yeah.
And we've got a couple of other little experiences that you've gone through. I want to go through all of that for the audience. Tonight, I'm introducing Tracy Garbett to you. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Tracy right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out! That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly Ancient Life Oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter. Come join the conversation right now at JChurchRadio. Our guest tonight, Tracy Garbett. And I'm introducing her to the world tonight. Tracy, I'm just so excited. This is so cool. And I hope you're having as much fun as I am. Now, a degree in psychology, and which I find fascinating because you are going to share a story with us where you encounter somebody, but with a witness. So before we get into the details, set us up. What was going on when this happened?
Okay, pretty straightforward. But I will just say, this did not happen in a dream. We did not have a glass of wine. This was not late at night. There was nothing going on. I'm hanging out with my friend, sitting on a couch. Everything's just normal. Normal, early evening, not even dark. We are watching a documentary, and the next thing I know, I will describe this the best I can. I was aware of being what I describe as inside myself, like kind of frozen inside myself with these two fighting thoughts going on. This one saying, I just saw that, and realizing that I had just seen this tall, hooded, dark figure that was 7 feet tall, and this other part of me fighting, saying, no, it was a projection of the TV. So it was like I was frozen. It was like I couldn't move, and I was just, part of my brain was trying to write it off, and a part of my brain was pushing through. And then when I finally sort of broke out of this, I don't know, it felt like this suspension. I was like, no, I saw that. And I looked at my friend sitting beside me who just looked like she was in this frozen state. I grab her and say her name, and she's like, oh my gosh, I thought that was a projection of the TV. And we get up, and of course we both saw this, roughly 7 foot tall hooded figure. We remembered the exact same things, and we cannot fill in the exact same things. So it was a dark looking hooded figure. It flashed the way we remember it flashed, like a slow flash in front of us. But we saw that thing, but we cannot make out what the face looked like or the body in the middle. We have never been able to. But here are the things I've been thinking, because this happened years ago now, and we didn't talk about it forever. But it was like, there's a sensation that you have when you know something is about to happen. I've had other experiences, and I'm sure you have, and other people have. And we've seen this in random number generators, that we actually do know that before things happen, something in us feels that, or we've seen it with animals too. The sense with this for me is that we came to at the end of an experience. I felt like I was coming out of something. I feel like there's a whole part missing, and this was just breaking back into sort of waking conscious reality at the end of it. So this was the conscious encounter I had with a witness.
Well, okay, a couple of questions really quick.
Sure,
This is pretty amazing. How far away from you?
I would say about 8 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, about 8 feet, roughly.
To too close, actually. Okay, so
yeah.
And you said that you were watching a documentary. So was this to the left or to the right of the television?
No, it was. This is another thing. It was directly perfectly in our line of vision, perfectly, which tells me, I mean, I don't know for sure, I'm speculating, of course, but that makes me think, if these uber intelligent beings have all the choices of what they can do and what they can leave us with, that tells me there's some sort of intention for us to see it, the fact that it was so directly in between us and the TV. That's just my own interpretation and hers. But
you know how crazy this sounds. This is amazing.
Yeah, I do.
to go through this. Okay, so so I'm understanding here. Little recap. You go, you phase out, right? You go through this thing. Maybe some butterflies in the stomach. An event is about to happen. And then directly in front of you, 8 feet out in front of you, between you and the television, this 7-foot being appears in front of you.
Yeah, that's right. And what the craziest thing is, I mean, but it's common, we now know in this realm of things. We didn't talk about this forever, and then when we finally did start talking about it a couple years ago, it's a perfect setup for hypnotic regression, and I'm open to it. She's open to it. I've intended to do it, but I just never do it. It's really funny. It's this thing that keeps pushing away, and she's, often said to me, if I didn't have you, my brain feels like it would have just pushed it away to a place where it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
And that's true. That's why I feel so lucky that we have each other. We keep coming back to that. No, that was there. That thing was there.
Yeah, look, I'll give you my advice. No regression.
Yeah. Regression?
You don't want to know.
Have you done regression?
No. And I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
You don't want to know? Well, okay, let me tell you this. Let me say this. And this is something we do in remote viewing and we can talk about later, but very used to, probing yourself for questions. So one would be if there was a scale of what was the residual feeling that you had? Was it on negative to neutral to positive? And both of us said it was sort of sat on the scale between neutral to positive. There was no, now that could just be cognitive hijacking. I realize that's absolutely a possibility, but I don't know. Sometimes you just have a feeling about things, and I could be wrong, but it is one that I do intend to dig into at some point.
Well,
I would like to. We'll see.
Okay. Could you? I'll help you with that decision right now. Could you see? Could you see through them? Did you see the TV?
No.
Through? So
no.
It was
That's
solid.
A good question. No one's ever asked me that before. No, solid.
Oh, that's just not right.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything in your family or hers? Did anybody just recently pass away? Was there anything like that?
Oh no. Before this, I had such a long history of that type of visitation.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, there is a completely different feel of this.
Right.
Nobody had passed away, and I have had experiences with that. There is this different feel in the intent. This is my interpretation, that it was more businessy. More, business isn't even the right word, just serious.
Yeah, deliberate. Yeah.
Serious and deliberate.
Right,
yeah.
right. It was done for you and for her too as well.
Yeah. And, we often have wondered did it occur because, was there some significance of the two of us being together? Because we don't get together very often. Maybe there wasn't. We could be reading into it, but it's a fair question.
How long was he there? I'm saying he, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I know. We really don't know. Really don't know. We would just be speculating. I honestly believe that was a trace left.
Yeah, it could be. Could be. Well, you know what? Yeah, everything is speculation. We could theorize all day long, but
we could. That's my feeling, is that that was sort of a trace image of a larger experience. I wasn't sure about that before, but I've reflected on it a lot as in the last year, and I do think that was a larger experience. So that's just my.
It could be so many different things. It could be like some crazy interdimensional parallel world colliding thing. Right. It just phased in and phased out, and
I know. There's ET, there's other, but could it even be, us in another dimension?
That's
could
right.
it be future selves, other selves, simultaneous selves? There's so many possibilities.
You guys weren't doing Ouija earlier in the night, were you?
No.
Okay.
No. The last time I did that, I was 11 at my birthday party, and every kid went screaming, left screaming from my house, and I never touched anything like that till way later. Even when my experiences started really reemerging in early adulthood, I didn't want anyone to say the word psychic to me. I used to keep lights on everywhere. I had radios on all the time because I wanted to block this stuff out. Mm-hmm. And I finally broke down and pulled out an alternative magazine and found a psychic and said, I don't want a reading. Just tell me what to do. It was like that. I didn't want any of that stuff around me. So.
Yeah, I did. Myself and so many of the listeners right now have gone through the same thing. I did 10 years of lights on and TV on all night. I mean, I didn't know how else to deal with it, but that's the way, and it continues to this day. I still have a problem with it as well. It's a little bit better. I mean, it was really bad for a long time, where if I was alone, I would have to put lights on. There were times where I lived in a house with a basement and different floors, and I've moved a lot, but I would have to have lights on every floor, and still, I would prefer to have somebody with me. Yeah, Rita, it's so funny. I want to leave the lights on downstairs, upstairs, in the house at night, and she forces me to turn them off, and it's like, with somebody with OCD, you don't, you just can't. They're going to do and they're uncomfortable if they can't do what they need to do. And me, I need the lights on. So Rita goes to New York over Christmas with our daughter, Deanna, for a vacation. And they're out there for 10 days. I had 10 days of lights on all night.
Ooh.
10 days of TV all night long. 10 days and I slept like a baby.
Did you? See, that's the thing for me too. In the past, whenever my partner at the time has gone away, oh my God, that TV's on all night. I can't sleep at all. I'm backed up in a corner. Sometimes I'll stay on the couch, and then I'll have, of course, the penetration of the TV, whatever's on late, in my dreams.
Love it.
It's when I finally fall asleep at 4:00 in the morning. Oh, it messes me up.
Yeah.
It definitely messes me up. So I understand. And I'm sure a lot of people out there do too.
It's so funny. And I'm okay with it. See, like Rita just tweet or texted me, cry me a river. But so I'll always try to, Rita's turning off the lights, and I'm like, well, let's leave one little one on. She's, why? The dogs need to see in the dark. Whatever. Just trying to
I've gone
convince
to
her.
Night lights.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I did that too as well. Night lights everywhere.
But only when there's someone else there. If there's no one else there, night lights they're not enough. There's no way.
See, everybody, you're normal.
Yeah.
You're normal.
It's normal. Honestly, whatever it takes to make the ego feel safe. But I did do hypnotherapy for that helped reduce it a little bit, I will say.
Yeah, I see, and what I did was probably the wrong thing to do. I studied more, and I went more into it, and in some ways, it freaked me. It continued the freak out. It didn't really help. But I also, as I researched, and I recommend this for everybody, just to know that it's happening. You're not the only one. It's happening out there, and it's okay. Well, it's not okay, but it's okay. Yeah. You just find out and try to reach out and talk to. Once I started talking about it, Tracy, I haven't shut up, and I haven't shut up since.
But it is. I mean, it is really great to have people that you can talk to about it, and it's so wonderful that there's this big group of listeners that, in particular, meet each other at conferences. I've definitely seen that happen at your shows and at the conferences, and I just think it's so important, and we need that. We need each other.
Yeah, when what I thought was really fascinating when I started to share some of my experiences on this show, I got to the point where I just don't care anymore. Right? I don't care. Yeah. I don't care what people think. What people think about what I have experienced, I don't give a bleep what they care about. I honestly don't care. But what has happened with that is I have people come up to me all the time or call into this show or send me an email that says, you know what, I went through that same exact thing. Can I share it with you? And then I'll get the long email or I'll get the long phone call. I'll get the great experience in person and we'll talk through it. And they'll always say the exact same thing over and over again. I've never talked about this before. But you have enabled me, you have empowered me to just go out and talk about it. And what a relief it is. It's a burden that you have just, people are walking around like yourself, Tracy. They walk around with luggage hanging off of them, serious bags, just, holding them down. Start to cut those. True. Yeah. Just start cutting that. And you're not, you're not in a big tank of molasses anymore. You're not being held back. Yeah. So let's talk about remote viewing before we get to the bottom of the hour. For remote viewing, for me, is real. I don't need convincing of that. But I did have something happen 5 years ago with a remote viewer out there, and I just happened to... it was a remote view about me. And I happened to stumble upon this on YouTube when it was like 7 views, right? And it was just a lucky thing, and there it was. But the point is, I watched this remote viewer go through everything, and in the end, open up the envelope. I watched all the drawings and all the development of this. It was like an hour-long remote view. With an overhead camera and him drawing, slowly zeroing in on what was the Malibu underwater base. And it was a photograph that I had published on the net with my original article about it. But this remote viewer didn't know. And in the envelope was this image. And that said jimmychurchradio.com on the bottom of the image. So I'm watching this, and when I saw what ended up, how do I want to say that? Resolve. When I saw it resolve and I saw the envelope open, I went, okay, there is... it was validation for me that remote viewing was a real science, but also... it was tied to me, and I knew what was actually going on here, and I saw the development of it. Fascinating. For you, for you, how did you get into remote viewing?
Well, it's actually part of what I was mentioning before. I was really just trying to make sense of the things that were happening. I was having visions. My sister kind of has dreams. I have visions. They just happen, and, I could just move my head to the side, and there's what I call an overlay, or I would just blink my eyes or shut my eyes, and I would see all of these different things. And I got into remote viewing just to try to build framework and just figure out what's going on with my mind. It was part of when I felt a little bit safer, a little bit of experimenting. What is this? Why is my mind showing me this? What do I do with this? it was just so random. I would just have all these random things come in, and I just wanted to get some control of it and see, I thought maybe, if this is happening, maybe there's something I'm supposed to do with it. So remote viewing was one way for me to just investigate my own mind, which now I feel is so important. I'm so into that and doing that in many different ways.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
No, well, okay. So then you decide to learn.
Yeah, I decided to learn. I had a teacher in Canada, Paul Elder, who works for the Monroe Institute, and we did all of these levels. And it is something else. It is something else when you yourself perceive something so far away, so unusual, and you see, for this example, is through somebody else's eyes and all of their senses, what they are experiencing in their environment. When you have something like that happen to you, I mean, not even trying to prove anything to anybody else, when you do that yourself, somewhere that's thousands of miles away, you know that you got everything wrong.
Yeah, totally. And
you got everything wrong, and you got to go and you got to reassess reality. Big time.
And everybody else does too, for that matter.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, right.
Well, help me understand. I think I understand what you're.
That one that I'm sort of referring to here.
Well, we're going to do that, but we're going to hit towards a break, so we can do this when we come back. But I want to understand what you're suggesting here.
Sure.
You're saying that you're in your remote viewing, and certainly with this one that we're going to talk about, you were in somebody else's POV, in somebody else's point of view, and you are experiencing all of their senses as well, as if it was you that were there.
It's not only that, it goes beyond that. Sensing everything they're sensing, but you'll hear when I describe it, you might hear better what I mean. There is a sensory part of it that goes it seems to go even beyond that person.
Now,
but it begins from the point of that person. It's wild.
Now, if someone, okay, look, I'm going to go right. I'm going to go there. What if something like this happened and it was a crime that was being committed, or a sexual act, or an act of terror, or something else? What do you do with that?
Well, in this situation, it's set up. It's set up. So it's a controlled. Most of the time, it's a controlled environment. I mean, some of the targets we're doing, I don't exactly know. You don't know what's happening with them. I don't know the root of who exactly was putting them out there. So I haven't come across something like a crime. Well, I don't know. I've had one that would be questionable, but we never got our results were sent away and we never got them back. So we rarely hear back. I mean, things when we were being trained, yes, we would hear back, but there was certain stuff in the master level that was going somewhere else, and we were not getting those ones back. And those ones had some of these shifty things happening. But what would you do if you were using those abilities and you saw something like that? I don't know. When it's a controlled environment like this, I would count on that the people arranging it would know what to do, or there would be sort of a chain of people to figure that out. But doing it on your own, I don't know, because I mean these abilities are available. That's the thing. That's the thing that's so crazy about remote viewing. This is all of this available to all of us. I mean, I can hardly wrap my head around that sometimes.
I know.
It is all available to all of us, these incredible psi abilities.
I am.
We just don't do it.
Yeah, I am going to up at Soltech. I'm going to go through some remote viewing training that I've been looking forward to this for a very, very long time, and I really want to experience this for myself. Before we head to the break, and we'll talk about the 2,600 miles when we come back, but I wanted to ask you about Ramtha, the School of Enlightenment.
Yeah.
Did you hang out? Did you hang out with RZ?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, RZ. Did I say RZ?
You did say RZ. No, you don't generally, when you go to the school and you're a student, you don't generally get to hang out with her. It's very, very focused. It's all about, working yourself, working your mind, and proving that you can do these extraordinary feats to yourself. So it's not really about having access to her. It's really about this deep relationship of building this subconscious inner world and creating outcomes that, again, are paradigm worldview changing and empowering, really, really empowering. At least that's how I took it away, or how I took that away. Yeah.
So you didn't get a chance to hang out with Jay-Z?
I did not. I did not get a chance to hang out with Jay-Z.
Did you see her at Contact in the Desert?
I did. She actually sat at our table. But those tables were so wide, we didn't get to really talk to her. But I got to talk to her briefly.
Yeah.
And it was really nice, but I never really have before. And when she's been around, most of the time she's been channeling.
Right.
So it is a very, anyone who's been to the school who's listening out there will know this. It'll be hard to believe for others, but it is a very different experience being around her and being around her when she's Ramtha. There is a feeling that is so masculine and dominant and huge when she is channeling. It's like your physiology is registering it.
Well, and the voice and the accent too, as well, I find really fascinating.
It is fascinating, but even just the feeling of it. And I've always considered Ramtha the slap in the face channel. It's always, it's business. It's business.
Yes, it is. And so we'll come back in just a minute, and we'll talk about the 2,600 miles with Tracy Garbett. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hi folks, what can I say without making claims? CBD is truly the buzzword for health. What does it do? Government institutions will not allow me to say what this wonderful oil does for us. But I can say it's non-GMO and organic. I can say it's 0.003 THC, which in plain English means you won't get high. There are those that want to squash your freedom to buy natural products. Fight back with your purchase power. In the end, it is you that takes care of your health. Go to ancientlifeoil.com. One more time, ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Tracy Garbett. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology and international studies at the University of South Florida in St. Petersburg. And she's also a professionally trained remote viewer and a lifelong contactee. And right before the break, we started to talk about some of her remote viewing and one specific experience that spanned 2,600 miles and through the point of view, the POV of someone else. Now, you got me here, Tracy. I'm right there. I want to know exactly what went down. Has this happened more than once? That's just a yes or no question, but has this happened more than once?
Yes, but for me, this one, I'll explain why, but this one was the most extraordinary one.
Okay. All right. So what happened?
Okay, so this is what we call an outbounder. An outbounder is when you have a person planted somewhere in the world at a certain time, and you have agreed to remote view them. So this is set up, okay? So I didn't know where this person was, and you're also trying to determine if the person is male or female, and this type of thing. So you go through the process, and as I said, the process is this is a series of questions and going deep. You're sort of essentially quieting the left brain and allowing the right brain to reach out. I'm oversimplifying here, but and just with intent go to your target. So what began to happen, I began to smell the area. I could smell that there was water, so it was coming in very slowly. I began to sort of feel droplets of water. This is the thing that's so interesting. It was very, very experiential. Feeling droplets of water on my face in such a way that I could tell I was this person, or I was experiencing it as I was sitting, feeling a fountain blowing gently on my face. Then I could, it's so unusual, but I could smell the staleness of the water. I could almost feel the texture of the concrete that was surrounding the water with the this mossy smell. I could tell it was sort of a contained body of water. And this is the thing, your feeling senses can tell you all of this unusual information. For example, how big, or how, sort of the general diameter of this place. So at this point, I'm not seeing anything. I'm feeling it. I'm smelling goose poop. Like I know I'm in a park and but it's just the way it builds up. I am noticing outside of the park, and again, I'm not looking, I'm feeling this. It's hard to describe, but I could feel that there were buildings surrounding this water park, and I knew that I was in an urban environment. I was in a city. I was in the middle of a city, a water park in the middle of the city. Every fiber of my being knew. It's like I knew exactly where I was. It was really strange, even though I'd never been there before.
You know what? When I listen to you describe that, I think everybody knows immediately when you're in the presence of a fountain, because all of those things come into play, right? The mist,
they do.
The droplets, the sound, the concrete, the smell of a fountain, the smell of wet concrete. All of these sensory things come into play, and you know when you're next to a fountain. You know these things, and so wow. Okay, so what happens?
And what's fascinating is you start to feel the creatures around, that there's fish and that there's swans or goose. There's, you can feel these, you can feel the trees. Then the visual started kicking in for me after the experiential. And I had a very strong impression of what the fountain looked like, the exact shape, where it was in front of me, and even the how the spout of the fountain, how wide that was, the direction that it was going. It was one solid spout going up and over to the side. And because this was prearranged, there were some photos that we were able to see at the end of this. So the reveal happens.
Well, before the reveal, are you drawing?
Am I drawing?
Yeah, are you drawing what you're saying?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, we are drawing. This is all being written down on paper, writing all of these things as we perceive. And then you're going back inside, perceiving more, writing it down. Then I just want to say, all of a sudden, I see this compact open, and I'm looking back at a female eye with makeup.
Oh, shut up. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is cool. Yeah. This is cool.
Okay, so the reveal happens, and when it was about to happen,
did you
Paul Elfer grabbed my shoulder and said, wait till you see this.
Hold on. Did you draw the compact?
I wrote it down, yeah.
You wrote it down. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay.
There's more to that part of the story. So anyways, the reveal happens, and it's amazing. Like, the fountain is exact. And again, this is not to prove to anybody else. This is proof to me. Like, I was absolutely wow. The fountain was exact. This was a large water park in the middle of a city. So this ends up being Orlando.
Oh. Okay.
This ends up being Orlando. I'm living in Canada at the time. Here's another weird thing. Years later, I end up moving to Orlando by a weird set of circumstances. I'm Canadian. I never ever thought I would be living in the States. I end up moving to this place. I end up at a meetup. I end up meeting that woman. And I was so excited. I went for lunch with her and brought the remote views. But when we were doing it at the time, the only thing that the reveal happens. They tell you everything, you see everything. But one thing I didn't tell was the compact. I was a little self-conscious. I thought, what if I'm wrong? I was so specific about that. I just didn't say it out loud. But so when I moved to Orlando and I meet this woman, we go out for lunch. I tell her all about the remote view. I'm sitting there with her and I tell her about the compact. And she says, oh my God, I never told anyone. I pulled out a small compact just in case someone could see me. So what does this tell us? I was looking through someone's eyes, and we can look through someone's eyes through this type of a distance, thousands of miles away, what she is feeling, what she is smelling, what she is seeing, and even an action that she took, looking at herself and seeing that perfectly.
When you saw her face and her eyes,
yes.
what went through your mind?
Well, I've seen weird things like this before in the types of visions that I've had. So seeing something like that wasn't so shocking, but I guess having a vision was so shocking, but seeing a person look back at me, there's a little bit of doubt that runs through your mind. But on the other hand, a lot of us know when you know something is right, like you feel it in your body. And a part of me knew that's her eye looking at me. Oh my God, she's a woman. It's I can see her. It was shocking is what it was.
Did you go to the fountain?
Did I? Yes. Okay. So then I went there, I went to that spot. It was called Lake Eola in Orlando. And so it's this beautiful park. And so even being there, I can tell you, I couldn't even write down close enough. I can only know myself the depth of experience that I was having and the exactness of what was going on there. It was mind-blowing to me, like validating to me that, there's something going on here. There is something huge available to us. And oh my gosh, like again, science has not got this,
I know. I have watched some amazing remote viewers go through their stuff, and I've interviewed them about different projects that they have worked on, and I am so fascinated with this, and not only with the possibility of the CIA using it for whatever, which they should, I think any law enforcement agency should use it, but. There's that, but there's also the off-world implications of it. Certainly throughout history and going back and looking at different events where that we don't have any witnesses that are alive for today, and maybe seeking out those answers too as well. I find it completely fascinating, and I do want to learn how to do it. And I think that we all are born with that ability. If you choose to go and learn, you may be fascinated with what you have inside of you.
I totally agree. I think not only is it good for those things, but I think it's a worthwhile experiment on our own minds, a mental exercise. I think there is so much available to us, and we don't really go there. We just sort of, some people would say we run on the hamster wheel, but there is all this available, and I do believe it is available to all of us as well. I do believe this is just a matter of relaxing and satisfying the left brain, so that it just relaxes enough that the right brain, as I was saying before, can reach out into these perception and perceive. And, this whole thing, I haven't even talked about the left brain, right brain thing very much, but makes me wonder if the right brain, and I'm oversimplifying the right brain thing, but is some sort of doorway that is available to all these realms, and could it be the doorway that they contact us through? I've had a lot of thoughts about this in terms of experiencers and people who are having sightings in the left and the right brain. And I keep coming back to this question. It doesn't mean I have it. It's just, it's a curiosity, and remote viewing is really, thinking about remote viewing is really, brought this to the forefront for me.
Well, the other part about not only remote viewing, but all of the other aspects of the supernatural and what falls underneath that umbrella, whether it's a near-death experience or a ghost or an apparition or the being that showed up in your living room, to remote viewing.
That's right. Out-of-body experiences, hypnosis, the whole thing.
It's all connected, one. And two, if science continues down the road that they are on right now, then one of these dominoes falls, Tracy. They all fall. Right? They all fall, and this world is going to be shown very quickly in short order that things aren't what they seem, and that there is something else to wonder about and to ponder.
Yeah, and I just want to ask you. So, do you think experiences are happening to more and more people?
I do. I do believe that, and there's another part to this that I think is really fascinating. We've gone through about 2 or 3 phases in humanity. One, if we go back, say, a very simple 5,000 years ago, 3000 BC, at the start of everything, allegedly. Okay, let's go with allegedly.
Yeah, right.
But let's go back 5,000 years. 5,000 years ago, 2 basic questions were going on even back then. One, what happens after we die? And 2, what's going on with those stars? Are we alone in this universe? Those are the 2 fundamental questions. And we've gone and then we went through a phase of which partially continues to this day, that we are alone in the universe. Right? That's it.
Yeah.
And that, you know what? Maybe we just die. That there isn't anything else out there. And that there is a large segment of this population today, Tracy, that doesn't care. Right?
Yeah.
They really, these things that are so fascinating that were always questioned, that today so many just want to get on the treadmill, provide for their family, which is fine, get up, go to work, and come home, watch some news, watch a couple of sitcoms, go to bed, and do it all over again. And they drive around and walk around all day long not thinking about these things. And that blows my mind. Now,
me too. Then there's all of us who we just can't stop thinking about it and trying to come up with different ways that we can explore it, right?
Yeah, and today, now that we have not only these days of disclosure and what is going on with mass media and the UFO question, but the search for life in the universe and exoplanets. These are fast radio bursts. These are things that are in the headlines now every single day, and it is strongly suggesting that things aren't what they seem. And I think that those out there that were appearing to be closed off have been wondering about all of this. And I think that now everybody's starting to wake up. And I really, to answer your question directly, I think that we are in a shift. I can feel it. When my own family, who never, they all know what I do for a living. Trust me, right? They know. They can hear me on the radio. They can watch me on television. They know what I do. But they don't talk to me about it. They don't. They don't. And so when the New York Times bust out with that article back in December, and now it's on the news, it's on the radio, it's everywhere. And for the first time, my family was like, well, come on. We knew we weren't alone. I was like, oh, really? You want to talk about this now? What about the last 5 years? You guys never talked to me. But and it was so funny how they just took it in stride. And I think that's an example of everything else that's out there. I think there is a shift going on. I can feel it. Yeah. Does it validate for you? Do you need the mass media to talk about disclosure and the UFO question to help you along as well?
I could easily say no. I've reconciled this myself. But no, I think it's easier for all of us. And I think we'd be lying if we didn't say we want that validation. And it does. I mean, I was just in academia, and honestly, it's the biggest taboo, and you can't talk about it. Everything is dancing around these things. So for that alone, just to be able to be a little more outward, especially in that context, I would want it. I would definitely want it. And it helps to open up the dialogue, as you were just saying, and that's really important. That dialogue is really important. It's going to become more important when more of those skeptical people or more of those people who it wasn't affecting begin having their own experiences if it keeps on this trajectory, right?
Yeah, and that's what I really enjoy. And what about?
Yeah,
and I'm going to get back to that in a second. Do you have skeptical friends?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
So, is this an opportunity for you to go? Okay, this is what
In
I'm
your
on
face?
about. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Some of those friends have dropped off. It got to that place where a lot of those have dropped off, and we'll see what happens moving forward. If this comes back around. But I had a lot of friends who were, willing to listen. They didn't fully believe. They didn't know what they believed, but they were willing to listen and sort of keep the door open a crack. And I think it'll be wonderful for some of them that I haven't seen to have start having this dialogue again and see how much further we go and what they've been thinking about. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it.
You mentioned something earlier. I want to go back and visit really quick. You said that your mom is watching Ancient Aliens, and which I think is great. But I think it goes beyond that, in where Ancient Aliens for the last 9 years, has exposed all of these questions, not only about history, but ET in general, to the world, to those that wouldn't necessarily have ever pursued this. But it has certainly helped the effort. And you see it with your mom. Do you think that those changes are as real as I think they are?
Do I think that what is as real as
these changes, with those out there that would never ponder? We've said ponder tonight now like 10 times.
That's the word of the night.
I love that word. It's a great word. But
You too.
it's allowing those out there to ponder a subject that they would never consider.
Sorry, can you just repeat the question one more time? I don't know why it cut out again for me.
Oh, it's cutting out for you.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, I'll give it one more try. Do you think that, let's go beyond Ancient Aliens, actually.
Okay.
All of the UFO and paranormal programming that is on cable television, this exposure to the world, to those out there that would never pursue it on their own.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely. Shows like Ancient Aliens and Hangar One, and I mean, there's so many out there now. They have been so helpful in opening up the dialogue. And, there's a funny thing out there, but sometimes all it takes is high production values to get people's attention, right? But it's a truth, a marketing truth. But more people are listening. More people are, I'm going to use contemplating this time. These other realities, these ideas. They're just willing to listen, and I think people are willing to go back into some of the ancients and seeing some of the parallels, these seeming coincidences, and it has really helped in opening up the dialogue and giving people some seeds to begin conversations. It's a bridge. It's really building a bridge. And so I'm grateful that that's out there. And my mother used to be scared of this stuff, and those shows helped her come along. They're gentle. Sometimes they're not, but they can be gentle, some of them.
Have you had a sighting in the sky yourself?
No, I haven't, actually.
Wow.
No, I have not. Well, okay, so when we were at Contact in the Desert, I think the year before last, looking through the night vision goggles, I didn't hear the beginning. So there were things that I saw that were moving that looked so incredible, but I just wasn't sure. My mind was, so I'm not sure what I was looking at. So
2
I'm not
years ago,
certain because I saw a lot of crazy stuff through those goggles.
Yeah, that's a game changer when you see that for the first time. But 2 years ago, at Contact, when I was out with my peeps, we were out there on the cliff, and there was probably 250 people out there. We had the most amazing sighting, which has been dubbed the Zorro. And it was a backwards Z in the sky that was carved out of the sky with this like aquamarine colored craft, and it went backwards. Okay, so the Z, it started from the right on the top of the Z, right? Started on the right, went to the left, went zigzag down, and then took off to the left and shot out across the sky. And it was huge, Tracy. It took up a big chunk of the sky. And you should have heard everybody screaming. And you weren't there because you would have just said, I saw the Z. But no.
I was there, but I was not out that night.
Oh, it was
there.
amazing.
I know. I'm really disappointed. I've heard this. There were so many people. I wasn't there. Yeah.
The screams, which I was one of them.
Oh, it must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Well, let's take a break. And when we come back, everybody, we're going to do the big reveal. Are you ready for that, Tracy?
I am so ready.
We're going to do the big reveal next with Tracy Garbett. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tracy, wonderful conversation, but it's about to get really, really cool in just a second. Everybody stay right there. The big reveal is next. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at GetTheTea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at GetTheTea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Tracy Garbett. Now, I've introduced her to all of you out there. Very dynamic conversation tonight, and you can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I'm watching Twitter, just blazing right here. And now this is the big reveal. Now, Tracy, stay put.
Okay.
Stay put. But you're sitting next to somebody right now, and I would like to bring him on, and it is Richard Bleepin Dolan. Richard, how are you?
Hi, Jimmy. Happy to be here. I've been enjoying the interview all evening.
It was pretty dynamic, but what I would like for you to do right now is answer this question. Who is Tracy Garbutt?
Wow. Tracy's someone that has just turned my life around for the past 2 years, since we met at Contact in the Desert, actually, in 2016, which was the week of your UFO sighting that you never stopped talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The weekend that I saw some UFOs with you through night vision.
Mm-hmm.
And Tracy and I met at that event, and we have actually never stopped talking since. We had a 4-hour conversation that evening, one of the evenings, and with a couple of days after that, we're not in touch with each other, and then just a few days after we got home, we just started communicating, and it has been one nonstop conversation ever since.
Pretty cool when that happens, and there's only one way to seal that deal, right?
Yeah, so we got married just about a month ago in Australia. So yes, that's how we sealed the deal.
I'm so happy for the two of you, and for the audience now to understand what the conversation was about tonight, and who she is for this community. And to you personally, I think it's absolutely amazing. And I've done this privately, but I'm going to do this publicly now. Congratulations to the two of you. It's just been absolutely magic. And to watch the two of you be around each other, it's really cool. And so congratulations.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thanks so much, Jimmy. Thanks. I'm just going to say I've had a lot of friends who have known me for many years, and every one of them has said, my God, you're just so different these days. And it's all for the better. And I mean, in a lot of ways, I just feel that this has been a very, very good thing for me. And I mean, we work well together. Like this is ridiculous. We are ridiculous. Like we are, to call us two peas in a pod is actually, that doesn't even do us justice. We're like together all the time. We never get bored with each other. We just never get tired. By the end of the day, we're still like, we want to stay up because it's just too much fun. Like going to sleep, my God.
Is it because she's Canadian? Or do you have a deep-rooted thing that you can't get rid of?
Yeah, absolutely. I was born on Canada Day. I was trying to take that away from that nation ever since. So yes, I clearly have. I've got some kind of Canadian thing happening. Let's just put that right out there.
Okay, and that's another understatement.
Oh yeah. So no, this is actually true. So I get a little goofy about the Canada thing.
Yeah.
So when I met her at Contact 2 years ago, it was after one of my lectures, and in fact, not long before that, I had done a tour of Canada called the Modern Knowledge Tour, and during that, I'd met a couple of very interesting experiencers in Vancouver, and I happened to mention that on stage. Well, Tracy had spent her entire adult life in Vancouver, and so we get out of we're leaving this crowded the sanctuary, that room in at that event. And we're just stuck there at the exit. And she awkwardly says, "Oh, good lecture. I had some experiences in Vancouver as well." And I immediately turned to her and I'm like, "Oh, you're a Canadian."
And an experiencer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So she had her guard up. We'll put it mildly. She had her guard up against me. And, but
there was a reason.
Yeah. No, there was a reason. I had met her a few years before. I didn't even know. I had no memory of having met her because she wasn't interested in me. So I put it out of my mind and met her this other time, and she remembered me. I had no memory, and that was kind of another funny thing to our connection. But I was able to get her to come to my table. She comes to my table like a day later.
By the way, I'm just going to say. A day later, because I didn't want him to think anything.
Yeah,
she's playing that card.
Come to my table.
Right.
I want to talk to her. And she's like, we'll see about that. So a day later, she comes over. I'm got about a dozen people they're all around me. And I put up my hand like a stop sign to all of them. I actually did this, like straight arm out. I said, "Stop. Hi."
You know, you guys sound like you're 15 right now. You realize that.
Oh, this is every day.
Yeah,
I'm 15 years old every day, and I wanted her to talk to me then, and she felt embarrassed or she didn't want all the attention on her, and I really had to strong arm her for the phone number. Just like she said, "No, I'll email you." I said, "No, don't email me. Yeah, I'll never see it. So I got her phone number. Anyway, long story short, we had a conversation during that weekend, and it turned out to be 4 hours, and we just absolutely hit it off. And that was it.
Well, let me ask you this, Richard. I'm going to go there.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Is this? And I've certainly said this about you both privately and publicly many, many times, but you are pragmatic. You are black and white. You want documents. You want the facts. That's what you write about. That's what you speak about. And you are very critical of a lot of things that don't have that kind of stuff to back something up. But now you're married to Tracy. How has she changed you? How has she changed your view on some of these other things that you may have been pretty critical about over the years?
Well, I'm glad you asked me this because it gives me an opportunity to bring some clarity to that issue. So it's not quite accurate to say that I've been critical of, let's say, remote viewing. In fact, I've been interested in remote viewing for 15 plus years. And in fact, I lectured about it back in 2002, 2003. I did a paper actually published for the print version of Phenomena magazine way back in those days on remote viewing, asking how is it possible that it works, because I knew that it did work.
Mm-hmm.
I had spent an evening in the home of Ingo Swann, probably the most famous remote viewer ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew Hal Puthoff, I knew Russell Targ, the guys who developed the remote viewing program back in the day. I've known Joan McMoneagle, Lynn Buchanan, and really talked with all of these people about what they do. And so let me just say, I've never needed to be convinced that is real. Remote viewing is absolutely real. And the fact that it is real, incidentally, is a challenge to our contemporary understanding of physics.
Sure.
Because they're missing something really important. So when people like Tracy are able to see through the eyes of another human being and sense the sensations of another human being, a continent, and on the other side of the continent, that's not explainable in our physics, and that's the failing of our physics. That's not crockery. That's not nonsense. That's a shortcoming of our physics, which we need to deal with. So I've always felt this way. Now, where I have been critical, and I'm still really critical, is when our field is surrounded and deluged with claims that are not only impossible to verify one way or the other, but take on a kind of cultish, messianic quality. And you know what I'm talking about. I've gone down this road many times. Don't need to go down it now.
Right.
And so what I try to do is walk this there's a gray area here. And the gray area is there are things in this world that we do not yet have the tools to explain scientifically. We just don't. But they are real. So when we encounter that information, how do we deal with it is the real question. So my approach is I don't ever offhandedly throw anything out. Everything is into play. But that doesn't mean that I'm obligated to believe something just because it might be true or it can be true. So I'm usually quite comfortable in a gray area about a lot of things. Stan Friedman always had the best expression for it. He says he had a gray basket. Didn't know if it's true or false, and he never felt a need to have a definitive answer. And I'm very similar in that way. I don't feel a need to have a definitive answer on some of these issues. Channeling, for example.
Well, wait. Now let's go back to my question. My question was,
Tracy changed me.
Yeah, how is she? Has she helped you open your eyes and maybe understand things?
I actually do believe so. And one thing I have to say, she's prompted me to be a little bit more sensitive in some of my comments publicly about people and about situations, and I might have been in the past. And it's really true because, it's one thing to be sensitive to something theoretically, but it's another thing when you're living with someone, when you're in love with someone who is one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
And when, someone like me comes down hard on somebody else because I'm skeptical of their claims, they can't prove it, whatever. Like I do recognize, like, my wife is one of these people, like, she's had experiences. Her encounter with the being, the 7-foot tall being that was in front of her and one of her friends, she can't prove that. They cannot prove this. And there could be skeptics just coming out of the woodwork saying that's BS, that's not true. And the thing to remember is, people who come out with these claims, we're just human beings. We're not computer programs that don't have feelings. People have feelings, and it's a very rare person who's going to be able to go out there in the world and just withstand all of the critics coming after them. And so I would say that I'm always striving, and especially since being with Tracy, to be a bit more sensitive when I have individuals come up to me at an event, for example, which happens all the time, and they've got a story that I may not off the top of my head think is credible. But I will say I'm always trying to be civil and polite, and at least to give people the opportunity for me to listen to them. So Tracy, I think, has just helped me realize a little bit more those people that sometimes I'm very critical of. Hey, they're human beings. They're people, and my job isn't always to come down with my gavel and say this is true, this is false. My job is like anyone else, is just to try my best to understand what is going on in this incredible phenomenon that we're all interested in. We call UFOs, and what's going on in this world. And I don't have to have full, complete answers all the time.
Now, let me ask Tracy a question. Going back to what Richard was just talking about, I will say that Richard and I have a very open way of talking to each other. And you were there when Richard came. I'm not going to say about what, who, that's not the point. But Richard came up to me recently, and you were there, and he was pretty angry. He was pretty angry at me. And he...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, of course you do. and he let loose, right? And I tried to calm him down, and there was no calming him down. But we will talk to each other that way, and I was fine with that. But you saw that. Now tell me the truth,
I did.
Tracy. Did you pull him
you just
aside?
had to remind me. Oh, yeah.
Did you pull him aside and go, Richard, what are you doing? Don't look at Richard when you answer the question. Don't answer.
We have this hand signal that happens. I wish I could show you what it is. Because the first time you guys were discussing that panel, I think it got a little bit heated as well. And he got the hand signal, this sort of, okay, you guys are up here, bring it down, bring it down. A little bit. But yeah, at Contact, I do remember that. And,
yeah, and
I think you were uncomfortable with it.
Well,
I was uncomfortable. I'm glad you both have thick skin and you guys can deal with each other like that. And maybe it's a little bit of the Canadian in me that's I'm not as good with direct conflict like that. But you guys work it out. You always work it out,
and we did,
and it turned out really well.
Yeah,
by the way,
yeah. All of that was cool.
I think you two trust each other underneath it all. So, but it was definitely an uncomfortable moment. Yeah. That's for sure.
I was like, whoa.
I know. He was.
Are we not to get into details here? Is that the rule?
Yeah, let's not get into details.
Too much detail.
Yeah, too much detail. But the point that that's what you get from somebody that is now standing beside you. Right, and you guys are almost like a yin and yang, right?
Yeah, we are, and I think that I leave a little bit more. I think for him, he's perhaps a little bit more open, and for me, it always reminds me to be a little bit more grounded. So, I'm still uncomfortable talking about my experiences. I'm working my way through that. I feel comfortable in myself about them, but I'm still just getting used to talking about them in public. But
well, now what everybody wants
anymore.
Yes, I was barely scratching the surface, but I'm just getting used to talking about them. But
have you guys
kind of the yin and the yang? It's true, and I think it's actually it's a strength. I really appreciate that. It's challenging at times. It really is. But I think we're really good for each other.
Have you had an experience together now? Have you guys shared anything?
I'm not thinking that we
have. No, we haven't had sort of a contact experience. But Richard has been exposed to these really unusual dreams that I have. So he's just getting exposed in he's following through day by day and seeing what my life is like.
I have to just say this. You guys didn't get a chance. Tracy has some of the most unusual dreams of anyone like I've ever met in my life. And in fact, she's had other friends, like experienced friends who have said the same thing to her. Tracy's dreams are almost like future tech dreams. Like, you're going to have to talk to her about this sometime. Like, the most interesting, bizarre, but, like, fascinating, convoluted, but, like, consistent narrative dreams. Like, I don't have dreams like this. And it actually has prompted her she's done, and she's actually doing research right now into what she's calling contact dreams, and of varying levels of vividness, from your ordinary dream to higher levels of immediacy to those dreams that are not dreams, and I think it's fair to say she's going down that path because of her own history, her lifetime of
is there
highly unusual dreams.
Is there a way, Richard? I'm sure you guys have discussed this, but let's talk about it publicly. Is there a way that her remote viewing could assist you in your own publications, such as maybe false flags or something else?
Here's what I would say about that. remember there was the old TV show Law and Order.
Yes.
And there would often be evidence that would be submitted, but it wasn't admissible. But the lawyers would still use it as leads because they knew it was true.
Right.
So, like, my attitude would be, like, I would not, as a historian of false flags or of UFOs for that matter, I would not probably confidently use remote viewed intelligence for my information. Although, look, I've written about remote viewing by people like Ingo Swann and McMonagle, and it's not necessarily like ruled out, but it would have to be under the right conditions. But what I would be interested to do if the remote view were done in a targeted way like that is just see what comes up.
I just want to add something here. There's a bit of a problem with that because the target has to be a blind target. Otherwise, the ego can get involved. The left brain can get involved. Guessing can get involved. So, at least for me, the most successful remote views and the most confident I am in remote views is when I have zero information. So, X is perfect with the intent, but help. So this is why it's kind of funny. People have said this to me before. Oh, why don't you help Richard do this? Or why don't you just choose the moon and remote view it? It kind of doesn't work like that because all of the information that is preloaded in your mind then comes into play.
We could have someone give you the assignment and you just wouldn't know.
Yeah,
what it
is. It could be.
That could work.
Well,
it could be the USS Pueblo, right, in an envelope.
Yeah.
And go from there.
No, we should try that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we'll have like
I'd be happy to do it, but we would have to disguise it. I mean, you'd have to, now we're sitting here talking about it.
I think we could.
You see what I'm saying, right? You see what I'm saying? The problem with it has to be like a blind remote view.
We can take care of the blind part.
Okay.
We'll take care of that.
Yeah, we can take care of the blind part.
Her abilities.
Not that you guys are sitting here talking about it or anything, but all right, go ahead.
One thing I just I wanted to mention about, because I've talked with Tracy about her remote views for a long time. She did hundreds of professionally sort of set up remote views with Paul Elder of the Monroe Institute, and she was like an athlete. Like, she did this for years. Like, how many remote views a week?
So I was doing 6 targets twice a week for 2 years straight.
Oh.
Yeah, I was really, really into it. I wanted to see where I could go with it. It's like a muscle, exercising it.
And you'd have hot streaks and cold streaks, just like a baseball player.
Yeah, this is what I've often said. Like, wow, I really understand the hot streak, cold streak thing, like baseball players, for example, because it's all this interplay with your left monkey mind. You could be getting your targets on this great streak, but as soon as you get one wrong, let's just say, and then doubt comes in, and then you're doing your next remote view, and that doubt is sitting there. There's something really.
Yeah, you get the yips.
You do.
Right.
It sticks, and you're using your left brain to try to get out of it, but then overthinking again is sort of the left. And again, I'm just going to say I'm oversimplifying the left and right brain thing, but for the sake of the conversation, you know what I mean.
It's fascinating to me. And, just again, to reiterate, my approach to studying UFOs or really anything hasn't changed in the least. When I write anything or speak publicly on a subject, I want to have my facts straight. I want to be confident in the factual chronology of whatever it is I'm talking about. But it doesn't mean that I don't recognize we live in a crazy world that's got a reality that's far beyond our ordinary consensus reality. And Tracy is one of many people who's living proof of that.
Now, really quick, I can't get out of here, Richard, without, well, first I want to thank Tracy for coming on tonight. Absolutely fascinating conversation. And I can't wait till she's on with us again. There's so much more to explore. But what's going on with the book?
Oh, the book. By the book, you mean the false flag book?
Yes.
It's wonderful. It could not be going better. That's my answer, and it's a true answer. It's going very well.
Okay, so we can expect it. We can expect it in 2019.
Yeah, most likely.
Look,
it's going to be a book that I'm so looking forward to completing, and my head is in the game, and it'll be done when it's done, my friend.
Okay, all right, and then
it will be done when it is done.
One last question: has Tracy changed your musical taste?
Oh, well, yeah, she's enhanced my love for disco.
Yeah, which is my next
disco love.
Which is my next question.
Has been enhanced.
Okay, do you
I've
want to
always enjoyed it, but she's gotten me more into it.
Yeah, we definitely, other than our disco love, our mutual disco love, we have all these different things that we were into. So it's been this wonderful merging and expanded, eclectic.
I haven't gotten her into Led Zeppelin yet. That for her, she's a little too young. That was always called older brother music.
Oh,
Led Zeppelin.
It's true.
Well,
it was older brother music. That's what we called it.
Tracy, you have to sit and watch The Song Remains the Same from beginning to end with Richard. That's what you have to do. Richard, what was the last song you listened to today?
Oh, that's an easy one. We both were listening to it together. How about you do the honors?
It was More Than a Woman by the Bee Gees.
Oh, doesn't get any better than that.
It's really true. And we were both doing our own little Barry Gibb throughout.
Oh, man. One day.
Which you're not going to hear.
No, one day, Richard, you'll hear me do my Barry Gibb. Oh, I want to say.
Seriously, we'll compete.
Tracy, what did you think when Richard and I harmonized singing Happy Birthday to George Norton?
Wasn't that amazing?
We said Happy Birthday.
Yes. That was.
You guys have this whole other area of talent.
I shocked myself, actually.
You sounded so good. I think we need to post that.
Oh, it's out there somewhere. Thank you, you two.
I needed like powder blue tuxedo with ruffles.
And mustaches.
And it would have been a complete experience.
Yeah, and mustaches. Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, definitely. Hey, you guys, again, congratulations. Tracy, thank you so much for the conversation. And Richard, you're the best. You're Richard Bleepin Dolan. Thank you, too.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Enjoy the rest of your night. Richard and Tracy Dolan right there, the big reveal. Thank you so much, Tracy. And, of course, Tracy's info and everything is over at Richard Dolan Press. And they've also got some other new stuff going on over there, too, as well. There you go. Great conversation. The big reveal tonight, Tracy Garbett and Richard Bleepin Dolan. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. I'm going to get out of here and come back and open up the phone lines for all of you. I'll be right back.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at naturesyouth.com. naturesyouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at naturesyouth.com. That's naturesyouth.com.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. That was fun. Tracy Garbett and Richard Bleepin' Dolan. It's Tracy Garbett Dolan, by the way. Now you know. All right, I'm going to open up the phone lines. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Great conversation tonight. Oh, man, just fascinating. That remote viewing experience. Whew, man. And everything else, too, as well. Tracy's amazing. Richard's amazing. Congratulations to the both of them. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, it's Scott from Atascadero.
Hey, Scott from Atascadero. How are you?
Good, buddy. How are you, man?
Well, it's a great night tonight on the show. Do you enjoy it?
It was really, really nice, actually. Very nice.
And what's on your mind?
Well, I'm an RSE student, and I have been since 1990, Ramtha School of Enlightenment.
Right on.
And, yeah, man. And I'll tell you, if you want to know and learn about creating reality and finding out who you are, you and Rita ought to go there, man, because you will not regret it at all.
And how long did you go through the program for?
When I was living in Washington State, I was there. I went for probably 10 years of consecutive events, for the most part. And then I left and then went on my own thing. But what's really cool now about the school is that they do all these online events that you can do and learn through the internet, obviously. But being there is a whole different experience, obviously. It's almost like going to James's ranch.
Yeah, I can only imagine. What and I'm serious about that too as well. What attracted you to Ramtha? Was it the channeling at first? Was it that, or was it something else?
It was more of what my mom was into at the time when Jay-Z was doing events before the school even started, when she was traveling and doing events around the United States, I think, for the most part, and channeling Ram. And then when she discovered who he was, and it just resonated with her and stuff, and she had told me, hey, you should come and check this out. You think you might really like it, and this and that, and up until a little bit of resistance until like the early 90s. I think it was 1990, and I finally gave in. I was like, all right, okay, let's do it, and I went up and did some events, and then once I was there, I was hooked, and enough said.
Now, yeah, totally. With the viewing, did you have a natural gift for it, or was it something that you trained to do?
No. This was, for me, it was more of, it's more of a place, and there's a book that Jay-Z wrote called The White Book, and it's her story about how she became the encounter with her and Ram, and the whole story behind it all, and stuff, and it was it's the quick, simple term or phrase of it all is like, if you want to know who God is, you look at it in the mirror every day, kind of thing.
Right.
And so when I went to that event, it's sort of a bell ringer. I mean, if it resonates with you and it clicks you and it makes you go, oh my God, this is it, boom, you're golden. But if not, maybe perhaps not. It doesn't ring the bell for everybody, but it was for me, and ever since. I mean, I wish I could just have unlimited funds and not have to work ever again, and just go back to the ranch and go to events, from here on to eternity. It's so much. It's great.
Well, Scott, now that you're here, let me ask you, because when I hear you say this, I have to ask the natural question. There's been a lot of negative press out there too, as well, about what goes on up there, and the word cult, gets dropped in like they do with anything. This show has a cult, right? So
sure,
I get that, but it sounds like you had a very positive experience there. When you hear the negative stuff, is it based on reality, or is it made up, or is it just disgruntled, unhappy people that just want to express themselves in a negative way?
I believe that there's if you're a true journey person of becoming what you want to know who you are, really, you'll know within yourself. I mean, I don't think you have to just, shrug it off your shoulders and say, yeah, whatever. I mean, if you're going to know ultimately within yourself, your truth, and the knowingness and the feeling within yourself that is so solid that it's unbreakable and unshakable, Jim, that you will know that you're like, you know what, you can throw at me whatever you want. I don't really care, because this is golden. It is solid. It is like the most foundational thing within myself that I've ever felt amongst anything that I've experienced in my entire life. And no person, no place, thing, time, or event is ever going to get in the way and say, you know what, you should not, fall for that, mumbo jumbo stuff. You can just look at the person or whatever is telling you that, just laugh and just go, yeah, whatever. And you'll know within yourself that you're there, you're home,
Yeah, fair enough. I have yet to break it out in depth, but I have. I'm not going to say how, what, or when, but I have the complete Ramtha collection. Okay, I have. I'm telling
you, man. If you go there, I mean, James Gilliland has been in his audience before. Ask him about him when you go to Soltec. You'll be like, hey, Ramtha? He'll be like, oh yeah. I mean, these guys are one and one alike. But this school is definitely about creating reality and creating your life. And if you and your wife ever have an opportunity to get away for a few days and go do an event there and stuff, and actually find out what goes on and learn. I mean, it is the coolest thing. It is one of the best investments you will ever have, and it's not super expensive, and it's so worth it, man. It is so worth it. You'll come back. I'd be excited to like just listen to your show just to see what you have to say. Like, oh my God, I went to RSE, and you're like, oh my God. You know, it'll be cool to hear the energy coming off you, going, yeah, this is awesome.
Well, you know, I did meet Jay-Z at Contact in the Desert, and I didn't have the opportunity to sit and talk. And it got away from me, and I'm looking back. I'm like, man, you know, she was right there. We shook hands, and we didn't get a chance to sit down and talk. But I would like to have her on the show, either as herself, or if she wants to come on as and channel Ramtha for the show. I think that would be equally as amazing. But yeah, I would like to have Jay-Z on the show, either her or Ramtha.
When you were at USETI the first time, you guys did the whole the table ceremony and stuff, and like sat in the circle. And
no, we didn't. Deal, right? No, we didn't do the table ceremony. It wasn't. Okay. It wasn't done, and I don't believe the reason why it wasn't is that particular night, and I thought we were going to go there, but we just got behind schedule, and we had literally 200 people in the room, and there wasn't an opportunity or room to do it, and we got so involved with some other stuff, and I think I would have to ask James. He probably wouldn't remember, but I think that's the reason why it just got away from us. And I'm kind of glad I didn't do it, because at that moment I was going through some other stuff, man. I didn't need anything else on my. It was It was really
no worries. I mean, I'm just the reason why I ask is because the energy that comes through the room once you do that, it almost feels like this. It's very similar and the same, if not more empowering, when you're there at the ranch when. If Jay-Z challenged Ramtha and stuff, when he comes in, it's a day and night difference. You know, if you ever get the chance to, obviously you met her a couple weeks ago or a week ago, and if you ever get up to the ranch, and then when his energy and mine is in the body, or when he's mobilizing it, it's it's day and night difference. I mean, you'll be like, oh my God, wow.
Well, I had I don't think I've spoken about this on the air, but that night, the night that if there was going to be the table tipping, it was that night. And so anyway, I'm there. I'm in the zone, right, along with everybody else, and I have this crazy, and I don't know where it came from. Just came out of nowhere. Which I never do religious stuff. I don't have. Religious thoughts. You know, I'm talking about hardcore religious things. I just don't do it, right? Christian or whatever. And this crazy. So I'm sitting there, and I've got my eyes closed, and this vision, this thing just comes in right on. I'm talking right on top of my pupils, man, just right there, and it's bleeping Jesus with this four pronged halo, very definite golden thing, very Renaissance type of painting kind of thing, right? Okay, that's what it looks like. We've all seen these different types of paintings in museums and in books and in Bibles and things. So it's like that. It's like some Renaissance artist painting thing. But it just comes right up and stares at me. I'm like, wow, that was kind of weird, right? Okay. And I'm just kind of like, and the room was quiet at the time. So anyway, this thing goes down. And then somebody says in the room, I don't know if it was James, but says, okay, now Jesus and Mary are here. I was like, wait, slow down. here, and my eyes pop open, and they just pop open, and I'm looking around like, did anybody see me? I'm kind of tripping out right now, and I kind of look around, and I was like, that I didn't need that. That was friggin' strange. So I get up, and this is back to the table tipping. I get up, and everybody's just in doing their thing, and I got out of there. I walked outside. I fired up a cigarette. My hands are shaking, and I'm like, wow, that was really, really strange.
Out a little bit, huh?
Yeah, well, because this was what is important for everybody to understand. And I know this sounds like freaky deaky stuff, and I don't care. It doesn't matter what people think. It was my experience, but the vision part of it happened like 5 minutes before anybody said anything. And it was there, and it was lasting, and I didn't understand. I never have those. I could be watching the most religious movie or documentary or whatever, or read a book, and it goes away. I never have those thoughts. But it happened then. It was weird, man. It was weird, and to have somebody in the room say that at that moment, it just freaked me out. I didn't dig it, man. I didn't dig it. I left. I'm telling you, it was bizarro. It was bizarro, man.
Believe it, I listen to your show a lot, man. I'm a dedicated listener almost every day, and I like listening to I'm brain farting, sorry. Jim Gilliam's show on his thing, and all hearing about all the different beings and different consciousnesses of these beings that come into where they are and stuff, and at the ranch and everything, and so when you say that about being Jesus and so on and stuff, it doesn't really surprise me, because I mean, it's just like it's. When you're at that kind of frequency level and stuff, at Hertzian or higher than, infrared or higher visible light, and those frequencies in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th levels, it's just, everyone is. It's like the big party. Everyone's hanging out there, and it's like that's why we're not there. I mean, that's the struggle of our existence and the evolution of enlightenment and becoming something more than what we've always been, from lifetime after lifetime, millions and millions of years, over and over and over.
Yeah, well, there's something to be said about that, because for me, where I just like I was just talking to Richard about this, where I really enjoy documentaries, or I like nonfiction. I like to read those kinds of books, and I like to do that kind of research, and that's what I've always enjoyed in my life. And then when you get to this other side of things, I'm coming at it from a different mindset, and one that has always been very skeptical. And when somebody wants to talk to me about Reiki or healing or chakras or vibrations or crystals or meditation and these things, I've always had a difficult time with that. One, I didn't really enjoy it, in that it wasn't something for me to go and research. But the other part of me was always so black and white, and that's what I enjoy. I just enjoy that kind of stuff. And when things start to happen to you, like they did with me over the years, and certainly up at ESETI, it opens up your mind. And those that are around you, that have been around me, that talk to me about these things, now I have to listen. Now I have, because I can appreciate where they are coming from. It's a different type of experience, and it's I don't really care what people think anymore. I really, really don't. I'm not saying that I had some religious experience. I'm saying that the synchronicity of what happened to me there, this strange vision, this strange thing that was very real on my eyelids, And then a few minutes later, to have somebody say that, I just got to walk away. I got to walk away. I can't. I don't know if I would go back and intentionally try to do it. It freaked me out that much. You know?
Sure.
You know, I had the little singular experience.
Yeah.
I know that there's something going on. All right. Okay. All right. So I just had to just kind of walk away and think about it. You know, that's what you have to do. You have to just go, okay, what was that?
You know, Jimmy, it's your experience, man. It's your it's your truth. And it doesn't really matter what I think or anyone else thinks. You know it within yourself, and it's like you can feel good about within yourself going, right on, man. That was my trip. My deal.
That's exactly
right. And you can
right.
be solidified in your knowingness and acceptance of it, and that's it. You don't have to like let the world know about it. I mean, that's your soulful thing going, that was Jimmy Church's trip, and nice, right on. I did it. I mean, Thank you for the Lord God of my being, and thank you. Thanks for allowing for me to be a participant of it, and be solid with it,
Well, and when as I went through that weekend up there at ECETI, now this wasn't. I've had other things happen in my life, right? But the singular experience of ECETI, and I've said this enough now. It was for me overwhelming. It was too much. And all of it, just like this experience I just told you about, none of it was in my control. None of it. I didn't go and try it. I didn't try to kick it off. I didn't have somebody that. No, it wasn't about any of that. Each one of those things that happened up there, whether it was the UFO sightings or that crazy my ring disappearing in the ferry story, or what happened to me in the medicine wheel, or this thing. It was just like one thing after another. And after a certain point, we had that door open up on the mountain. It was just like crazy stuff. And I was like, man, we need to slow this down. This is a bit too much. It was fun, man. It was fun. It was fun.
Oh, God.
It was fun.
Never a dull moment, man. It sounds like you guys are like just enthralled in the excitement 24/7.
Well, somebody said the other day, I don't know, it might have been Teresa. I think she tweeted this. All right, we're all ready to go for, all systems are go for Jimmy to go back into hit. And I'm like, you know what? Probably not. Probably not. I'll be the observer on this one. Hey, Scott, don't be a stranger calling into the show, man. Great conversation.
All right, Jimmy. Take care of yourself, bud.
Yeah, you too, man. Have a great night. And if
you too as well.
You can go ahead and reach out to Jay-Z and say, the door's open. I'll talk to you, man. I
will.
Have a great night.
You too, buddy. Bye-bye.
Great phone call right there. Love first-time callers, man. There's nothing quite like it. I really enjoyed the show tonight, and my comments earlier at the opening of the show, I do want to go back and just visit that for a second. Today, myself and Rita and our daughter Deanna just went through some trauma. And like I said, things happen in threes. And we always hear that comment. Things happen in threes. Things happen in threes. Well, okay. That happened. All three happened to us today, and hopefully we'll have a nice clear path over the months ahead. Now that we got today out of the way, but I didn't know what the show was going to be like tonight, or if I was even going to do it. But I chose to do it, but also to talk about that at the beginning of the show, and I wanted you to understand that. If I hadn't have mentioned the three things today, doesn't matter what they were, that wouldn't be fair. And if later anything came out or I slipped up or anything, and to think that all of you would go, wow, man, I guess things don't affect him. That's not cool, because they do. And I needed this show tonight to just get away from it all and use every one of you for support and for a shoulder. So thank you for that. But the other part of it is that I want you to understand that even over here in my and Rita's world, that things can really, really be difficult and can go south. And when you are around others, you never know what's going on in somebody else's life. And if they're having a rough day, or maybe somebody is being, a little off-put or whatever, you don't know, and always just stop and think, and today it was rough. It was a rough one. And now in the next 45 seconds, I'm going to sign off of this show and go back to reality. But tonight, for 3 hours, you allowed Rita and I to escape reality and hang out with all of you. And always remember, when it gets difficult and when it gets rough, you have friends, you have family, you go hang out, and remember that the sun will always come up the next day, and you've got a fresh start, and everything is up to you. So remember that. And with that, I'm going to get out of here and go face some reality with Rita. And I am going to do a heavy dose of junk food. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I want to thank Tracy, Garbett, Dolan, and Richard Dolan for coming in tonight. An absolutely amazing show. And I hope that you enjoyed the reveal. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camurian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night, Fader Night, open lines all night long. Everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.